It's danger when he's bringing out the lightsaber.
So we had another all that for a drop of blood moment in Las Vegas this weekend where Nick sat next to his cuck fridge. Nick had a bunch of pictures, like one in front of the mirror of me with my shirt off. So Nick sat next to his cuck fridge and told Cucktails, woo! Because here's the trick Nick pulled. He never posted what he wrote before. I said this about the event. I said it's not going to make Nick happy. He's going to continue to crash out. I'm sure they love that. And they got to hear Nick embarrass himself further. And then Nick got to show everyone his dime store romance novel that he created in his head. I mean, I haven't come out with the text that prove that Nick slept face first in my jizz for 4 or 5 months. Vito and I secretly worked on a thing where I roasted Patrick and Nick to their faces at Hackamania. I made a video. Vito and I put it together. And I figured out why Nick has been so mad the last couple of days. And Nick got snaked. Moody snaked Nick in their Discord. I was of the opinion that Nick was still trying to sneak off and see April on the sly as she's living by Lake Wakanda there in Wilmer, you know? Turns out that Nick got cucked again. April, God bless her for getting out of there. I mean, it took her too long. She was psychologically abused by Nick for a long time, as Keanu has shared those stories. Nick was loading her up full of nitrous. Clearly, Nick must have heard the story, or the new boyfriend must have been told some really evil Nick stories, because an interaction that April's new boyfriend and Nick had did not go well for Nick. First thing Moody does, first chance he gets, is fucking snakes Nick on the story he told him. I mean, I've been telling Nick for a long...
How much do you guys need to have... How many times? Right in the balls before you learn these aren't your friends?
April leaves Nick. And then April meets this new guy, and she starts telling him horrific things about Nick. So apparently, she must have told this guy a bunch of shit about Nick. So Nick has this really bad habit of spilling his guts to strangers. And it's actually kind of sad. I empathize a little. So Nick doesn't have any friends that he can confide in. Like, I've had so many people DM me who are like, oh, I'm DMing with Nick right now. You wouldn't believe how pathetic it is. Here's what he said. Let me do some of these, and then we'll show you the Moody clip. Moody snaked Nick. You know, that's another thing with Nick. He usually projects when he's insecure about something. Nick or Melton we're not privy to. So the lesson here, Nick, stop telling these fucking strangers your most embarrassing emotional shit. They are going to snake you. Like these Hackamania people, Patrick and Moody and Carl, they don't give a shit about Nick. He's an internet guy. Like, Nick hadn't been back home in Minnesota for a day, and Moody's already spilling state secrets. I assume she's living in the place she was doxxed at, based on what Nick told me. So he flips Nick off, and also Nick said that he saw April at a traffic light recently. Didn't give out the part of the story that makes him look like a cuck. This is just a typical Nick coping mechanism. It's because April told this new boyfriend that she needs to be protected from Nick. Nick, anything you've done drug-wise, she's told this guy. Nick, this is what she does. Nick, I'm telling you right now, buddy, she told this guy everything, true or untrue. There's these pills that Nick had to order, Johnny. They were called Rekieta Health, or Rugiet. These things that Nick takes because his system has been destroyed by drugs. True or untrue, Nick, she gave this guy a bunch of stuff. This is Moody. Again, Nick told Moody this stuff, and then Moody snaked him on Discord. Nick is genuinely cut up that they don't talk. So she told Nick, I don't want to fucking talk to you anymore. And Nick is fucking busted up about it. April doesn't want Nick talking to her. April doesn't want any contact with Nick. Nick has processed this now and made this my fault. It's a Nick Rekieta song. But Nick is not happy about April, his bitch. And now she's pretty much snaked Nick to this new guy. He's giving Nick the finger at traffic lights. But he sent Nick into a spiral. Nick, it's really amazing that whether it's me or whether it's April, the minute people leave your orbit, their lives get better.
Together.
Is this Nick's falling into a fountain arc?
I also don't know where Nick thought a relationship built on coke would hold as long as the coke.
Nick is sad.
Nick is sad.
Nick is he's a sad boy. Nick is sad that his drug buddy left him. And now
Wow, you got to feel great to be his wife right about now.
I can't say anything about that.
All right, fair enough.
Thank you very much, Johnny. But I think what we've discovered here is that Nick is sad.
Nick is sad.
Nick is sad. But I think between the moody snaking Nick and this still not bringing Nick any peace and him still melting down. Oh, Nick doesn't use a straw. Nick takes it right from the tap. I wouldn't be surprised if Nick wrote that text himself. Like Nick crafted a fantasy scenario of his. Yeah, Nick and his 25 milligrams he needs to counteract all the stimulants he's put in his body. Ladies and gentlemen, the kind of legal minds that still follow Nick Rekieta. The biggest tell that the April Nick texts were bullshit. April used the word splay. Nick needed to hear stuff about me. The more I see of this, the more I realize I think for Nick, I apologize to Nick because apparently I think his whole attraction was me. April for the win, telling Nick to fuck off and respect her wishes and leave me and my new man alone. You know what we should do for Nick today? I bet you if Camelot stopped talking to him, he'd stop being a retard who thinks that the checkered flag is buried in the wall. He could probably learn how to drive a truck if he abandoned Nick.
I didn't learn to make a left turn until I left Nick.
Make sure you go check out Alyssa Clip's latest video where she has her DMs Nick Rekieta sent her over the years narrated. I was not okay with being observed because somebody kept trying to watch me. It was creep. Nick, get help. Oh. Sabu makes Rekieta look like the church lady. Which is what Nick tried to pass himself off as before he went on stream with cocaine on his nose. How can you say Nick got cucked with a straight face and $2? Because he got cucked. Nick is sad that it's over. And Nick can get mad at me all he want. Moody snaked you, buddy. When you get in those positions, you can be two people. You can be me or you can be Nick. I don't know if it's a W. It's just a confirmation that Nick's continuing to crash out and melt down. And Nick had to invent a text between him and April 7 months after I left. I mean, Nick tricked April into sexting with him. It is mean to Patrick. It is mean to Nick. There's a soft, fun jab at Carl in there. It was a bust for Nick because he got humiliated and had to basically relive his cucktails. Woo. I just think if you're Nick and you brought charges against me for sharing photos without consent, you doing the same thing, again, that's why I sent shit to Todd. Nick wants to stand in front of me. He knows what I'm capable of versus what his buggy whip arms are capable of. But remember, Nick is the king of projection. I just know that whether it's me or whether it's April with her new boyfriend flipping Nick off at a traffic light because April told that guy fucking terrible shit about Nick, I just like to see that those of us who leave the orbit of Nick Rekieta voluntarily, we always end up doing a lot better.
I'ma do my stuff.